everyone, a very warm welcome to Sports Buzz with me, Deepika, DD India's special bulletin on all international and national sporting updates. Let's start with the top headlines. Much awaited Olympic torch relay kicks off on Thursday. Spread across a 121-day journey, the torch relay will cross Japan, heading towards the opening ceremony of Tokyo Olympics that is scheduled for 23rd of July. Confident Virat Kohli and team would like to continue their dominance against England in their second ODI against England, scheduled to take place on Friday at the MCA Stadium in Pune. Netherlands began their 2022 World Cup qualifying campaign with a surprise defeat by Turkey at the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Reigning European champions Portugal makes a winning start to FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Portugal edges past Azerbaijan in a tight 1-0 Group A victory in Turin on Wednesday. The torch relay for the postponed Tokyo Olympics began its 121-day journey across Japan and is headed towards the opening ceremony in Tokyo on 23rd July. The relay began in northeastern Fukushima Prefecture, the areas that was devastated by the 2011 earthquake, tsunami and the meltdown of 3 nuclear reactors. The first runner with the torch was Azusa Iwashimizu, a key player in the Japan team that won the Women's World Cup in 2011. Decked out in a white track suit, she carried the torch out of the J Village Indoor Soccer Training Center and was surrounded by other members of the team. The ceremony held behind the doors as the entry at the prefecture was closed to the public because of the fear of spreading of coronavirus. And euphoria swept through the stands as the scoreboard flashed the result at the end of the 25-meter sports pistol final at the ISSF World Cup. Indian team of Anjum Modgil, Shreya Saxena and Gayatri Nityanandam settled for silver medal in 50-meter rifle 3 positions team event of ISSF Shooting World Cup after losing by 43-47 to Poland in gold to medal match. Chinky Yadav, Rahi Sarnobat and Manu Bhakir occupied the first 3 places. A gold, silver, bronze for India on a day that India recorded their best ever performance at a shooting World Cup, reaching a record tally of 9 gold medals, the most by any nation in a single edition. The action was relentless. And the shooting medal tally where India tops the medal table is something incredible to watch. With 9 gold, 5 silver medals, 5 bronze medals and grabbing a total of 19 at the ISSF World Cup, India tops the medal tally. USA is on the 2nd position, Denmark on the 3rd, Kazakhstan on 4th and Iran is at the 5th position. And joining us is my colleague Ashok Martolia to discuss more and take us through the ISSF World Cup champions. Ashok, so India is doing a great job at the ISSF World Cup tournament. And how do you see Indians performing here in their run-up to the Tokyo Olympics?
Well, Deepika, currently India is topping in the medal tally by winning 6 gold medals. This time, apart from Manu Bhakar and Saurabh Chaudhary, we have got Aishwarya Pratap Singh, Chinky Yadav, Ganimat Sekhon, and other many young players are showcasing their talent. You know, there is an interesting story about Aishwarya Pratap Singh. In 2015, he was denied to enter in the national games because of he was carrying faulty equipments, but he never lose his patience. He continued tried his passion in shooting, and now the result is this, that he has become a key shooters in this ISSF World Cup. So it's the young players, especially the 20 and 90 year old, they play these shooters are doing very good in current ISSF World Cup.
Right. And according to you, Ashok, what could be the possible strategy and reasons behind India's successful run at the ISSF Shooting World Cup?
Well, Deepika, India, we have a lot of young pool of talents in shooting. We have a lot of private academies governed by, supported by Sports Authority of India. Like we have a academy of former shooters like Gagan Narang, Abhinav Bindra, and other so many former players. They have their own shooting academy where thousands of young players, they are enrolling themselves in the academies. So this is the reason that apart from that, the NRI is doing great job. You know, we always criticize the sports federation about their internal fight, about their internal politics, but this time the NRI has done a good job. They have also spread the this shooting in across the India. So overall the NRI and Sports Authority of India, they both are doing good job. That's why we have seen such kind of result in this World Cup.
Right, right. And talking about the contingent, Ashok, Ganimat Seiko is the first Indian woman to win a medal in skeet. Tell us more and the viewers about her.
Well, Deepika, Ganimat Sekhon, most of the people they are not aware that Ganimat Sekhon wins. She is the first Indian woman to win the ISSF Junior World Cup in skeet events. You know, skeet events is very different from other pistol and rifle events. You need a strong shoulder and strong arms for to carry shotguns. And hitting the object in the air. So it's very difficult for a woman. But Ganimat Sekhon worked on her in this area of her. She was very thin and very lean when she was young, but she worked hard, and she worked hard, and she done a great job in Skeet World Cup.
Right. And if we see at the entire contingent, we have a lot of youngsters who are there in pistol and rifle position events, but we don't see many youngsters in the skeet events. What could be the possible reasons for this, Ashok?
Well, Deepika, in a pistol and rifle events, you can put up a shooting range in your house. Many of the schools, they have put up their own shooting range in the school. So it's very easy to put up such kind of small shooting range in the in the schools and in your own homes. But for the skeet and for double trap and single trap, you need a huge infrastructure. So that may be the reason that the youngsters, they are opting to pistol and rifle events rather than the skeet and double trap. So that may be the reason that most of the youngsters, they are pursuing towards pistol and rifle.
Right. And my last question to you is that from here onwards, how do we see India at the Olympics 2021? What are the chances of gaining a medal, and what are the chances and which color are we expecting from the Indian shooters this time at the Tokyo Olympics?
Well, if you see India's performance in Olympics in 2004 Athens Olympic, Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore, he won the silver medal. In 2008, Abhinav Bindra won gold medal. And in 2012 in London Olympic, we've got one bronze and one silver medal. But in 2016 in Rio Olympic, we could not win the medal in shooting. So this time in Tokyo Olympic, we are expecting medals because 15 the shooters, they have already qualified for the Olympics. So this time a bunch of young talents, they have a good chance to win a medal in this Olympic. But you know, it depends upon the particular day, how you perform on that particular day. Sometimes what happens that the low ranking player also win medal in Olympics. So that all depends upon the that particular day, how you perform on that particular day.
Definitely, and all eyes will remain on the Tokyo Olympics, and with a splendid performance, we all are expecting a medal, and that too a gold. So thank you so much, Ashok, for joining us, and right now we are moving on to our other stories, which is cricket, as Indian captain Virat Kohli and vice captain Rohit Sharma are among the Indian batsmen to progress in the ICC Men's T20 International Players Rankings after clinching a home series against England by 3-2 in Ahmedabad. Kohli has moved up one place to 4th position and is now the highest ranked ahead of KL Rahul. Rohit moved up 3 places to 14th in the latest weekly rankings update, which took into account the 3-match Afghanistan-Zimbabwe series in Abu Dhabi, apart from the last 2 matches of the India-England series. Shreyas Iyer has moved up 5 places to a career-best 26th position, while rookie Suryakumar Yadav and wicket-keeper batsman Rishabh Pant also made rapid progress. Bowler Bhuvneshwar Kumar has moved up 21 places to 24th, while Hardik Pandya has advanced 47 places to 78th. And after a convincing 66 runs victory in the first ODI, confident Virat and team would like to continue the dominance against England and take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the ODI series. On the other hand, the 2019 World Cup champions' pride will be at stake when they face India at the same venue on March 26th. India will be without Shreyas Iyer, while England ponder on the fitness of Sam Billings and Eoin Morgan. More in this report.
And that'll find the boundary.
India came back from the first ODI against England with a mixed bag. The comprehensive 66-run win was a confident booster, but injury to Shreyas Iyer and Rohit Sharma complicated matter. However, this will be a chance for Suryakumar Yadav to make an impact after a wonderful T20 debut against England. Shreyas Iyer's injury is a crushing blow for Team India. In India's middle order, he has become a reliable batsman who can take the innings forward if the top order fails. In Suryakumar Yadav, India will get a different batsman who does not take time to settle down. Rather, he unsettles bowler from the get-to-go, swinging the match in the favour of his team. It was evident during his performance against England on his T20 debut. He began his international batting career pulling Jofra Archer for a mammoth 6. His illusion will also give Virat Kohli the option to promote KL Rahul to opening the innings alongside Shikhar Dhawan, in case Rohit Sharma is unavailable due to elbow injury. Fifth T20 international after the string of a poor performance was back at his best, scoring a 43-ball 62 on Tuesday. As for ODI debutant Krunal Pandya, he will retain his place as well after a fantastic 58-run knock. Amongst other, Hardik Pandya will keep his place, but Kuldeep Yadav, having hammered by England's batsmen in first ODI for 68 runs in 9 overs, may make a way for Yuzvendra Chahal. The leg spinner has hit a rough patch as wickets have dried up. Amongst the pacer, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Shardul Thakur will continue to lead India's attack. As for the third pacer, with 4 wickets for 58 runs on his debut, Prasidh Krishnan created a record that Kohli or team management cannot overlook. While he was expensive, his wicket will help him to retain his place for the second match of the ODI series. Sports Desk, DT India.
And in football, Belgium shrugged off an early scare to see off Wales by 3-1 and make a winning start to their World Cup qualifying campaign. Wales took an unexpected early lead with their first attack as Conor Roberts and Gareth Bale combined for Harry Wilson to finish a fabulous team move. Belgium responded swiftly and decisively as Kevin De Bruyne lashed in an equalizer before Thorgan Hazard headed them in front. That was the least the home side deserved for a dominant first half, and although Wales posed more of a threat in the second half, Romelu Lukaku's penalty settled the game. This defeat was Wales' first in a competitive match since June 2019, ending a national record of 11 games unbeaten. With this, Wales threatened to cause another major upset against Belgium before succumbing to the still lower quality of the world's #1 ranked side in their opening World Cup qualifier. And Netherlands began their 2022 World Cup qualifying campaign with a surprise defeat by Turkey. The Dutch runners up in 2010 fell behind when Burak Yilmaz deflected shot wrong-footed goalkeeper Tim Krul. Yilmaz then converted a penalty before Hakan Kalgaun curled in a third. Memphis Depay saw a late spot kick saved for the Dutch, who threatened to fight back via goals from Davy Klaassen and Luuk de Jong. But Yilmaz's superb free kick rounded off the scoring. It proved a difficult evening for the Netherlands, who initially struggled to trouble Jurgen Kukker in the Turkey goal. Matthijs de Ligt went close to scoring for the Dutch just before half-time, but his header was clear off the line. And while 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes from substitutes Klaassen and De Jong gave them a way back into the contest, they were second best for long periods. And world champions France kicked off their Qatar 2022 qualifying campaign with a disappointing 1-1 draw against Ukraine. The world champions began confidently and deservedly went ahead when Antonio Griezmann superbly curled a left-foot effort into the corner from 18 yards. However, Ukraine held firm in defense and leveled when Sohe deflected shot wrong-footed France goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. Timo Pukki scored twice for the host, with Miroslav Stevanovic and Barcelona midfielder Miralem Pjanic scoring for the visitors. It had looked like being a comfortable evening for Didier Deschamps' France side when Griezmann expertly registered his 34th international goal. But Olivier Giroud was twice unable to convert good opportunities to score, and Kingsley appeared to have a valid penalty claim when he was brought down by Ukraine goalkeeper Georgy Bushan. Those moments provided the visitors with the impetus to hit back, with Shodik's effort their first on target, but only after a significant diversion of France defender Personnel Kimpembe. While the host introduced Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial, the visitors merited their hard-fought point. Reigning European champions Portugal made a winning start to their World Cup qualifying campaign as they edged a stubborn Azerbaijan. Maxim Medvedev's unfortunate own goal proved the difference when a punch clearance by goalkeeper Shahrudin hit the defender and deflected into his own net. Cristiano Ronaldo failed to score on a frustrating night for him. The Juventus forward went closest when his overhead kick went over the bar. He also saw a free kick deflected side and a strong shot kept out by Mahamadov as he looked to add to his international tally. Ronaldo is 7 behind all-time leading international scorer Ali Daif, who has 109 goals. Manchester United's Bruno Fernandes and Atletico Madrid's Joao Felix were also denied by the excellent Mohamed Elif. Marcus Rashford and Bukayo Saka are doubtful for England's 3 World Cup qualifiers. The Manchester United and Arsenal players each suffered injuries with their club sides in recent weeks. Rashford is sidelined with a foot injury, while Saka is still recovering from a hamstring problem.
Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford and Arsenal midfielder Bukayo Saka are doubtful for England's 3 World Cup qualifiers. Manager Gareth Southgate said ahead of Thursday's opener against San Marino at Wembley.
Well, they're both doubtful. I'd say Marcus more doubtful than Bukayo at the moment. But we're going to assess them. Marcus has been very keen to be with us. He obviously wasn't with us so much in the autumn, so I think he's been keen to be part of the group and get with us. Bukayo has needed to have some sort of investigations at the club first, so hasn't been able to join us yet, but we're hopefully will be by the in the next couple of days.
Injuries means Southgate is without a number of players, including Liverpool's Jordan Henderson, Aston Villa's Jack Grealish and Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho. Southgate said he was particularly conscious of the need to spread the load during the 3 games. He suggested that Captain Harry Kane would be one of the players whose time would be rationed.
Look, it's brilliant. We've got a captain who wants to play every minute of every game, and we've got to be mindful that he had extra time last Thursday, then another high-intensity game on Sunday. So, but we've got that situation with a lot of the players, really. We've got to make sure we manage the fixtures correctly.
Rashford missed United's FA Cup defeat at Leicester City on Sunday due to front foot injury and has yet to train with England, while Saka is still having his hamstring injury treated by his club. England will face Albania on March 28th and host Poland at Wembley on March 31st. Sports Desk, DD India.
And in Miami Open, Cameron Norrie produced superb comeback to reach the second round of the Miami Open. Norrie recovered from a 5-1 third set deficit to beat Japan's Yoshihito Nishioka by 6-1, 3-6 and 7-5. The 25-year-old won 6 straight games to seal victory and set up a meeting with 9th seed Grigor Dimitrov. Having lost the first set, Great Britain's Katie Boulter began her fight back with a break to move 4-1 ahead midway through the second set and force a decider. Boulter came from a set down to beat Czech world number 78 Kristina Pliskova by 4-6, 6-3 and 6-3. The 24-year-old then forced an early break in the decisive set and took a 4th match point as Pliskova floundered after a run of double faults. Boulter will next face Belgium's world number 17 Elise Martinez. And in F1, after a truncated pre-season testing program cut in half by the pandemic, there is one tantalizing question. Is Formula One finally poised for a straight fight between Mercedes and Red Bull, or between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen? The sport has set its ambition high in embarking on what is planned to be its longest season in the middle order of the pandemic.
What was wrong at Mercedes? Mercedes' test started badly with a gearbox problem that deprived Valtteri Bottas of virtually all his running. When Hamilton took over the car, he was clearly having a difficult time, the car looking skittish and unstable. The 7-time champion was very obviously fighting the car and had a number of moments when he almost lost control. Hamilton had a spin on each of the 2 days. It's very rare for him to make these kinds of mistakes at all, even rarer for it to happen in testing when there is nothing at stake. As things stand, Mercedes do not know what is causing this rear instability. They will spend the 12 days between the end of testing and the start of practice in Bahrain on 26th March trying to understand it and then find solutions for it. Why were Mercedes struggling? If it sounds counterintuitive that a car that dominated in 2020 should be proving so difficult at the start of 2021, when many of the mechanical and structural parts of it are the same, that would be to underestimate the impact of some regulation changes introduced for this season. Last year, tyre supplier Pirelli expressed concerns that the speed of the car was putting too much strain on its tyres. In fact, that this led to a number of blowouts in the course of the season. Teams are free to make aerodynamic changes for this year, and they have been working on recovering the downforce lost to these rules changes. How good were Red Bull? While the Mercedes was nervous and unstable out on track, the Red Bull was the opposite. It appeared the single most impressive car in Bahrain. Verstappen ended the test fastest of all, and new teammate Sergio Perez was fastest in the session on Sunday before the Dutchman took over the car. There were no major reliability concerns and the car looked stable and quick on track. Sports Desk, DD India.
And that's it in this edition of Sports Buzz, and we will be back with more and fresh sporting national and international updates. Keep watching DD India.